narrow in this second game.
Yeah, they go ahead and ban Swain, or not Swain, Shen. Swain is banned, by the way, on the side of Kingzone, but another great support and good flex pick as well can be thrown up into the top lane.
Speaking of.
Yeah, there's one. The Lulu was banned in game 1 by KT on the blue side. This time didn't have enough bans.
Lulu coming through is a really big thing for Kingzone. Could be in mid lane to try to win a 2v2 because Lulu X basically wins every 2v2 skirmish around mid lane, given all the utility it provides. Very nice flex pick there. Hoping to not see it on Prey, but could happen. Looking at KT, lots available. The Aurelia was passed over, and BDD's Aurelia needs no introduction, so we may be seeing Yukal on the Aurelia. Outside chance Smeb plays it. Longtime fans will know that Aurelia was the big champion that Smeb kind of had PTSD over because they lost to Aurelia. That's a Master Yi.
Okay.
Okay.
Then that means Tarek comes in too. They already had Lulu. They say, hey, why not? Big smile on Peanut's face as he knows he's going to be the big carry of this game.
Well, no mechanics necessary for BDD this game. He doesn't need Aurelia. He can play Tarek. And Peanut gets to go on to Master Yi. First career game in professional play for Peanut on Master Yi. The Blossom experiment didn't work, but Peanut on Master Yi, if this gets started, oh boy, KT, got to start drafting those CCs, and Rakan is a good start when it comes to that particular thing.
Yeah, Rakan very good at interrupting Master Yi and all of his shenanigans. Fortunately, the Irelia and Vladimir not as much, but can try to follow up, if you will, and that probably means we will be seeing Deft on Vladimir once again. Didn't have much success in game number 1, but maybe he can turn it around here. The Ezreal ban, gotta love it.
I wonder if this will mean that Kingzone will consider banning Braum, because Braum has been the mid lane champion to deal with the Master Yi Tarek that's been employed a couple of times by Genji, the only team that's been brash enough to leave it open. But with all these champions selected, you think you already know the mid laners. Maybe you consider skipping over the ban of Braum. Ashe is an expected ban for me, for the side of KT now. We could still see Prey on the Lulu, but the Ashe is always a pretty big pick also, and it'll be a utility fallback for the side of Kingzone. What the expectation is here, Tom Kent's going to be banned away, an old favorite from the side of Gorilla. Kingzone probably don't know for sure where the Lulu is going in this particular game. There's a lot of different options, so trying to perhaps influence that, KT.
Xayah ban comes out here. Xayah, one of those other AD carries that has a good escape and works very well with Rakan in the lane, so should be, considered highly here coming into this game. And they're just going to pick up the Graves here for their own jungle.
Pretty peculiar choice for me. Comfort for Rush. We should mention that Rush is actually keeping his spot in game number 2. No sighting of score for this game. Would have thought they would have found some CC. Meanwhile, Kingzone would go for the Ashe. The Lucian for power level is available. Will be a very powerful 2v2. If it is going to be the pickup here for Kingzone. Prey was in great form with this pick before the season started. 9-1 in recent play before we went live, and now Lucian will be his choice. The Lulucian is actually there, as Lulu is there and could pair with Lucian, but let's be real, it's all about Lulu pairing with the Master Yi. For top lane, our Kingzone, that means it would be the Lulu support in the duo lane, and then a Dr. Mundo just for a tank might be the choice here by Kingzone.
Yeah, Mundo moving up the ranks in the tier list here in competitive, and he's fantastic as a frontline. He'll slow people down for you. Not the best engager, but he kind of just, uses his ultimate and sprints at you.
Do you just take
something like that?
Braum here if you're KT? Do you last pick Braum is the question I have for them. They're thinking about what to take in the mid lane. They actually had Exhaustive Summoner spell for Yukal, which would indicate Braum mid lane, but they go the way of Zoe instead. So the moment that I saw the exhaust, I thought, okay, it's clearly going to actually be an Aurelia top lane. They're going to be going for something different in the mid lane. There's a bit of disagreement. The Braum and Graves hasn't worked in the LCK, and thus they will go for Zoe. Zoe does have a CC ability to try to slow down the Master Yi, but isn't quite as reliable as Braum. And you do consider they picked Graves after they knew Master Yi was coming. They already had Vladimir, a skill shot from Aurelia, the Trouble Bubble. Both those can be alpha striked. you do worry that one QSS and there could be a very hard to stop Master Yi going. Let's see if KT can make the work done aggressively early, maybe through the power of Zoe and Graves trying to invade onto Kingzone, because otherwise it does feel like the Master Yi is set up for success.
Yeah, looking good as a composition. You know, they have the Yi and everything is going to be in the Yi basket, but even just Lucian with tons of space in the back line, and then he could always throw some support ultimates onto Mundo if the fight gets really weird. I mean, obviously you're going to be looking to throw it onto Master Yi if possible, but that combination of Mundo Lulu has always been around for a very long time.
And we'll talk a lot about how this strategy is already developed in multiple professional scenes, what the thought is from Kingzone. It's a bit different to what we saw from MVP on the first day. Aside of KT, Smeb on the Aurelia picked it, has counted against him many times, trying to make it work. They made some flexes here. Would have originally been the Aurelia mid lane, but they see the funnel strategy and they change things up. And I think we're about ready to get into game number 2.
Now we are, Papa. Let's jump into game number 2 right now. Kingzone versus KT. Let's see who can take the lead in this one. Fans showed up today, no doubt, and the shenanigans already begin as Kingzone is looking for that vision around the top side of the river.
It's a great segment on the LPL yesterday about all the different funnel strategies. They tried to outline them. I think we'll probably get to a lot of the same points when we're discussing here, because there's a lot to discuss about the way the funnel strategy has evolved. And you guys are wondering, if you're joining and being like, what the hell, Master Yi mid? It's all about power farming the Master Yi, and with the Taric, who had exhaust heal at one point in Champs Let, moved over to Flash. The Taric just following him around and basically helping him get through the jungle, holding the minion wave in mid lane. We saw Faker do it, and it did feel like a bit of a war crime, but we're going to be seeing it from BDD here, holding the minions for Peanut. Extra amusing thing is that when Peanut first joined the roster, both BDD and Khan changed their names to Ward of Peanut, and now BDD's actually playing Taric, so he is literally a Ward of Peanut. But it's all about getting all of the gold funneled, or the experience funneled, or heaped onto the Master Yi. And yep, BDD's job is to hold this wave, and look, here's Peanut to get some fun.
Yeah. Notice how it's all very well done, no missing of any farm at all, and I mean, they've done this strategy many times, and Rush going to be coming in here to the blue buff now very early.
So Rush has picked Graves, even though it's actually just kind of a free kill for the Master Yi in the late game, because in the early game, he power farms so fast that we know it's pretty predictable now that Kingzone will start bot side, then go top side. You kind of see the camp order in most games be pretty predictable for the midi and the Taric duo. And he's just trying to farm the camps that are easy fallbacks for the side of Kingzone early. But of course, the cost here is that he's gone top side. Kingzone are aware of this, or they've inferred it, and they'll be stealing away the blue buff. If you can exert control over the top side as Graves and actually find some wins in your side lanes, then maybe the Graves can actually start denying camps and really removing some of the relevance from the farming duo. And honestly, even if you're just splitting the map so that that Kingzone have to pick up camps on the blue side of the map, so on the blue buff area of KT, gets a bit confusing, then at least it's a longer walk back to the mid lane, and thus when Zoe gets a couple more levels and have Paddle Star, maybe some minions will actually be lost to the top.
Yeah. We always like to take a look at the other lanes that accompany the Yi as well. The Mundo's a fantastic tank, but another thing you always have to look at is the bottom lane. How well does it push into the other end? Well, Lucian is going to be fantastic into melee support Rakan and an early game Vlad, so already it's part of the reason why Peanut and BDD can easily just roam into the enemy blue side and take their buff in the Grom.
And I love that you mentioned that, Valdez, because that's one of the things that evolved after the first couple of pro games is at least one winning side lane means that you can't just have every camp contested by the enemy jungle mid or jungle support. if you actually have one lane pushing, that's one lane that isn't going to be putting down a ward on the Raptors as they spawn or conflicting there. So that is the winning lane. They have Mundo and topside just farming, so it's going to be a losing topside matchup as Aurelia can skateboard around, or ice skate around, we should say, and have a fun time. But the pushing lane and the bot side is very important. The other thing that evolved is a diverse damage portfolio. You don't need to be Lulu 80 carry, Janna support, or vice versa if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Finding a secondary carry has kind of been the most viable way, and I would say this is kind of the 1 week later updated version of the Mada strategy, which is the other funny thing is in Korea they call it the Mada strategy because Master Yi Taric and Mada's in the game. So extra amusing in this particular case.
Yeah, and well, speaking of which, stun comes down here, but he has to flash the cleaver. And, well, I mean, they don't know where Graves is, or maybe even Khan flashes in, tries to land another cleaver there. So getting a little bit frisky, but already the flash down on Smeb.
Was poor laning there by Smeb, who's actually lower mana, and then just ended up having to use his flash defensively against Dr. Mundo. Oops, that could be a problem. But there's no jungler, so he doesn't have to worry about being ganked. We've got a lot of people roaming to mid, but notice that Gorilla is going to make this a 3v2.
For now, just Rush coming in and helping out in the 2v2, the 3v2 with the Gorilla, but no one's fighting just yet. I don't think they've totally spotted Gorilla here. Trying to bait this in. The stun is going to miss, actually. Good flash there from Rush. And now the rest of Kingzone is on the run. Prey in a little bit of trouble here. The exhaust and the ignite coming in. And it doesn't look like they can save him. First blood going over to Deft on the Vladimir. Will they chase here? The answer will be no. They'll just go for the Cloud Drain.
A lot happening there, but the late rotation from KT at least was on time. And Deft specifically picking up the kill after being an onlooker in game number 1 is important for the side of KT. Peanut had his ultimate available already because of the funneled experience, so went in, but ended up being a collapse. We'll watch the replay. Peanut face checks because he's like, well, if there's 2 people here, maybe I can get a double kill. They have first rotation. In bot lane, I guess Mada died.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Prey was very brazen in this play. He's like, ooh, look, Mada, I'll kill him. But Vladimir had come up. Prey didn't have vision there. That was a bit poor play there from Prey. As we probably need a replay to understand how Mada randomly died.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that Peanut was trying to force that. He just hit level 6 and Rush and Yukal, I think, were both level 5. Maybe Yukal had hit 6 by that point, but had the Highlander going, tried to get that kill. Nearly would have had the stun landed onto the Graves and he hadn't flashed it. Perhaps that would have been a kill.
Thank you, SpoTV. Let's understand how Mada died. The teleport came back into lane. Gorilla was still there, and Mada did not know this.
Well, Ignite left available too, and no exhaust, I suppose, on the side of the Rakan. He did have flash, though.
Independent variable for sure was that he didn't know that the Lulu was there, and then, as you mentioned, got a bit greedy with the flash and died. Oops. Double oops so far this game. One on the side of Prey, one on the side of Mada. Speaking of evolutions, when it comes to laning, we do have the Vladimir, which of course was the flex pick that was dominating. It was drawing a Ryze counter pick in many different games, so it would be Vlad plus support versus Ryze plus support in the bot lane. Notice now that Lucian, Ezreal, and basically AD carry is going for an early Vamp Scepter is the way to answer it. Play the Ruin King was buffed, it's cheaper. And just a Vamp Scepter into regular build. You see this from Ashe as well. Ezreal, he's going to get a Sheen Burst to have lane presence, but if you can get early lifesteal, get it. Speaking of early, we could have a 3v3 around the blue.
Yeah, Peanut's ultimate available once again. Coming on in here, going to chunk down BDD as Yukal, but he's low on mana. Smite comes in, and
goes the way of Master Yi.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't worry, guys. I was practicing in the break. I now know that Smite has gone to Master Yi. No mistakes for me this time. I will correctly attribute buffs now, as Prey just says my job is to push. Pushes in Deft and Mada, and they back away.
Well, we might have a little bit of trouble here for BDD. Okay. Not going to commit to that one as Rush, even though he did have everything. I mean, Exhaust Flash still available onto BDD, so they don't want to push that in too much.
Still very much looking forward to the stats meetings for the next international tournament, maybe even Rift Rivals, just to understand how they're going to be able to work out the fact that it seems like BDD's CS per minute's gone way down this season. The Flame Horizon's coming, Valdez.
I mean, the Master Yi is getting close to Flame Horizoning his Taric already. which is very quick. Zoe a little bit behind on that. Of course, that is because Rush will take his own farm. Okay, they're gonna be able to chunk down Peanut here once again, and UCal has been on top of his Sleepy Trouble bubbles. He's been landing them over and over, so good things so far to the Zoe in the mid lane.
And I am a fan of going for Zoe over the Braum. They were clearly considering as a mid laner. I think Braum Graves doesn't work because getting all the gold onto Graves doesn't work, and Zoe has threat onto Master Yi. So actually being able to down his health bar at least will provoke healing from BDD. He can spam up his Q as well. And I think just drawing resources from Kingzone rather than trying to go for your own AFK farm versus Kingzone is probably the right way to go.
And they already have this mid lane pushing too with that advantage. You'll notice that Yi went over to the Raptors instead of helping push this one back. So it's hard for the target to clear all alone. Oh, we got an engage. Nice double knock up there on a Prey and Gorilla. Wild Growth is going to come in, but isn't enough damage. Trying to get out Tomato. They will, and Prey with the triumph is going to live here. And now the culling comes in, and Def cannot finish them off as the low-level Vladimir. A very close fight that goes the way of Prey and Gorilla.
They lose with a heal exhaust up. Sorry, exhaust ignite up on the side of KT to use everything. It's not enough. It's in the mid lane. We're going.
Yeah, we got Mundo here too. Stopwatch on the Rush buys them some time, but not enough time. Oh, actually, he does get away for a while, but here's Irelia. Finally, the TP comes in from Smev. And now BDD will get away as well at 1-for-1 in the mid lane.
Irelia actually TPs onto the minions behind. That's why we were off-centered and didn't see it. Nice roam coming through. Is it trying to get a counter kill anyway?
Now, with the counter fit flash, but nothing can happen there. UCal pretty low too, so they'll just back off.
A lot of action provoked by the fact the mid lane turret is super low. Already seen recent games, the final strategy. That was Kai'Sa, but from G2 and Fnatic. The Fnatic one was the most egregious because they were 10,000 gold behind, got a Baron and ended the game. Getting the turrets, forcing Kingzone to have to arrest some of their control over the map is the big thing you want to do. And it's final strategy, and these minions might do it in the replay. As we're going to get a replay of that bot lane engagement. Let's wait to see when the actual ult came in from Lulu, because it was quite late in all of this. It didn't matter, didn't think the healing reduction was enough, and just enough damage to power through. That lifesteal being oh so helpful, and the Triumph proc that you pointed out, the extra 160 health stopped the Vladimir from just getting a easy answering kill on the side of KT.
Yeah, I think the auto would have killed him, but nice runes you got there. Good lifesteal you mentioned. Good polymorph too on Tamada to make sure he couldn't do anything afterwards.
Nice proxy you got there, Khan, as he's proxying Irelia away from the minions. No defensive vision on the top side for KT, means he gets away with a freebie there.
Yeah. Mundo also quite strong. We saw early on that Mundo is having fun up in the top lane, forcing a flash even in a solo manner, but as you do mention, now it has returned to normalcy up on the top side as he knows, okay, there's no jungler up here.
CS numbers are quite low for the Master Yi this game. He's probably about 30 behind where you'd expect his invade.
Okay, Master Yi getting a little bit low here. Is Peanut really trying to get that red, and he will get it in the end. Highlander here to try to escape. Flashing on in here is Zukal, his real flash, trying to go for the final kill. Will not hit the paddle star, so not able to get the kill there onto Peanut even.
Hindsight, probably needed an aggressive paddle star in order to make it happen. Might not have had enough damage during that, and thus isn't able to pick it up. They are holding down Peanut decently because he is not immensely ahead of the Zoe. So the Zoe threat and taking the turret so far has worked pretty decently. But the fact that everything else is going well for Kingzone, that they're ahead in gold as a team with the final side that's often behind, is a pretty big problem as BDD, not a carry game for him.
I love that we get the damage graphs with this strategy. 78, we always try to think, you know, how did he get that damage exactly? I think it was probably one stun and one auto attack.
We'll say Dazzle
my
Auto.
Guess.
Dazzle Auto is a pretty good guess.
Who's going to get the smite here? Looks like Mata.
Awkwardly.
Yeah, Mata smite coming on in big time. Doesn't actually have smite, guys.
Ends up just being a camp denial from the side of Kingzone that are not very blue buff reliant at all. Deft and Prey in the bot lane. Play the Rune Kings there, so there's plenty of sustain available the blade rushes that are necessitated do mean we get very little Essence Reaver in the AD carry role, as it doesn't end up finding a good time to be picked up. Maybe if we see a Sivir meta, we will finally see some Essence Reaver, and there is some pretty big buffs in the hotfix coming through for the Essence Reaver as well.
No Drakes taken in this game. We'll see if, I mean, they have a pretty fast Drake take here with Lucian, Master Yi, but still not thinking about it. The Scuttle Crab is more important. We'll just pick that up and take the lead in that one 4-2. After that does get updated. By the way, guys, we do have the Scuttle Crab counter up in the top of the screen to the left and right of the tower counter. Pretty cool thing SpoTV is doing.
SpoTV exclusive
Yeah.
is the Scuttle tracker. Spo's been really on the ball in the past of having those new features first, and then they end up becoming more permeated around other scenes. If you guys are wondering at home, okay, still don't really understand what's going on, who's winning, and by how much, I would say the fact that Kingzone have got advantages in top and bot, and Master Yi may be behind. So in terms of the actual, is Master Yi got as much gold as you might expect? No. He's probably a little bit behind. But because the updated strategy has these multiple threats who are very much doing well, 30 CS advantage for the Lucian, Mundo basically going even with Aurelia, who should do very well in lane against Mundo, especially early. You would say that Kingzone, all things considered, are in a really good spot. And the Master Yi will just get there eventually, maybe 3 or 4 minutes later, but with a lot of friends to help him get to that late game critical mass.
I mean, you can see that they're already aggressive in trying to take fights. I mean, he's been on point with all of his Sleepy Trouble bubbles, so see if UCal can carry a little bit later. But they're really trying to take fights anyway, you know, and they're very aggressive early on. But imagine once the Yi gets Quincy's Rage Blade and then probably a QSS after that, it's going to be maybe lights out. I mean, we have seen the Master Yi strategy work out really, really well. Even MVP trying to come from behind with that strategy. Unfortunately, ADD did have a bit of a slip-up in the end game that allowed them to lose the game. But even from behind, the strategy looks good. And as you mentioned before, if you're going even at 15, 16 minutes with other options, you're going to be in a pretty good spot.
UCal trying to make Kingzone as accountable as possible. And kind of my struggle about it is I consider what a winning team fight looks like from KT and how probable that is, and it seems really low. Like, what is Vladimir doing in a team fight? He can't peel. If he dives with Aurelia, Zoe Trouble Bubbles missed or QSS'd everyone on KT, and the backline is dying, and the Vlad and Aurelia don't have the damage to chew through the Lulu Wild Growth, the shielding. Dr. Mundo is going to be doing something in these fights. What a winning team fight from KT in a 5v5 sense. Even now at the current power level, I just really can't see it, and that's my struggle here with no snowball from KT.
Smeb actually might be in a bit of trouble. You'll notice that he does flash it. Good respect shown. For you guys who have played and watched a lot of Mundo, you'll know that that's a bit of a scary moment once he lands that first cleaver.
And Aurelia's problem in the top lane, her struggle is that eventually tanks, she can't kill them. That's her struggle, is that in a meta with bruisers, there's a lot of outplay potential for Aurelia. In mid lane against mages, very easy, but in this sort of a match, the time is coming. There's also a time of reckoning for Kingzone.
Trouble Bubble is going to miss, and the culling to clear the wave too means that they just don't have enough pressure there to take it down. And Smeb sticks around, doesn't even go home and TP back, so wanted to keep that TP advantage, I suppose, or just equality with the Mundo, but that means that her turret getting lower and lower up there could be the first to go down. Or I guess the first one went down already in the mid lane. Sorry about that, but we might see Khan be able to even up the score a bit here.
Aurelia's not really interested in laning against Mundo anymore, so Mundo hit the critical mass too early after the early kill involvement. And the Aurelia sadly kind of wants to look for team fights. We've already spent a couple minutes outlining that this team fight execution have to be unworldly from the side of KT. Side lane's going well for Kingzone, and there's that Rage Blade for Master Yi.
He's got item number 2 in the 3-item ridiculousness. But you could see that KT, you know, they're trying to push whatever advantage they do have, right? They're trying to roam down here as 4 and take advantage of the fact that Tarek and Master Yi are going to be a little bit slower. Zoe Graves is able to get another turret here. Def gets low, and we do have the roam. Trouble Bubble comes in, but smart from UCal. They do have the vision. They're just going to back off and not engage on in there.
Double control ward from Peanut and BDD there. That was unnecessary. Need a bit more communication than that. Second turret goes down, but Valdez feels a little bit late. We've seen 3 turrets against Master Yi Taric pre-15 minutes before. And only 2 because getting Dr. Mundo's turret is going to be a bit of a struggle, given that he's most of the way on towards the Warmogs. They know Def's there. Ward was just about to time out.
Yeah.
And look, Peanuts found a turret.
He has. Caldo is very aggressive coming in here. He knows he's got Aurelia and Graves behind him. Misses the Sleeping Trouble Bubble though. Highlanders on, they're turning onto the Zoe. Stopwatch coming in here as well as the Radiance. We'll see if they can actually get into that back line. Actually, the Master Yi not in range, but the Mundo with the Wild Growth, a 4-man knockup. But here comes Mana, and here comes Aurelia. Prey getting extremely low, but still alive. And so is Peanut. He lives in the back line somehow, some way. And Mundo just does not want to die. They might have enough to take him out, and they do. Prey returning for an end kill in that fight, and nobody on Kingzone even dies.
So near, yet so far. Kingzone had so many people blinking down. I thought Prey was going to die incidentally in the middle of the fight. They have enough health and lifesteal to turn onto the Drake, and that was definitely the straw that broke the camel's back for KT Rolster.
Certainly looks that way. We'll have to take a look at this replay once again.
So much happens here. They try to chase down. They force the Highlander out of Peanut. So his reset potential goes down. We already know the power of Stopwatch against some of these funnel strategies.
Mundo, man, he's
Mundo goes to the back line. We've said how many times that Dr. Mundo outscales a Zoe. We know that reality. But look, Prey actually in the back line should die. You think he's going to die. They think the Vlad ult will do it. But having his passive shield is just enough to live. Maybe even a cheeky shield from Gorilla as well. No one dies. Beautiful stuff from Kingzone.
It's so funny to watch Khan also with Cosmic Radiance into Wild Growth, knocking up 4 people, by the way, and then just zoning out 2 members. Def was trying to get into the fight, but he just couldn't get past the Mundo. Mundo's in your face, you're not going to get away from him. And we talk about how he's picked for power. He feels even better in a composition like this.
And they force the flex of the Aurelia top side. Early levels. With a turret dive, you can kill Dr. Mundo. It's the only strategy we see is Darius trying to dunk master him early. Eventually, there's 2 giant spot items and you lose. They eventually came too early for the top lane. Feels like the rumble into the Aurelia just hasn't worked for Smeb in particular. And now Kingzone, 2 items on the Mundo, 2+ items on the Master Yi. I think we called game 1 over pretty early, and while the gold lead hasn't, brim-bashed KT as much as it did in game number 1, where the gold is, the fact the item timings are online so early from Kingzone, it's seeming like that 2-0 Kingzone is a very, very high chance.
Certainly looking that way. You see Khan, he is just so confident now. He has finished Warmogs. And, well, he's just looking for something to find in the enemy jungle as he pushes, because at this point, especially, Mundo really goes wherever he wants. He's just a walking brick house, I'll call him. There's really not much that they can do to take him out. Early armor as well to deal with Aurelia Graves. We're trying to get in the back line and trying to kill him in the front, but it's just not enough. They're gonna get a nice chunk of damage there on a Peanut, but is it worth it? Looks like it will be. The Ignite coming through too. And so they do back off.
No one can lane against Mundo though, Valdez, and the 1v1 has been outscaled too quickly by Dr. Mundo this game. We already mentioned the 5v5. We saw how, with almost everything working, they could almost, but couldn't take down any members. Rush has to walk up because Smeb cannot lane a 1v1 against the Mundo. Almost every choice from KT right now, whether it's fall back and farm, or try to gank the Mundo, or tunnel onto Baron and get aced by a Master Yi, is a bad thought. Here's a turret dive.
He's underneath the turret. He's going to miss the cleaver, though, so he's not going to continue on in there. The Executioner's calling really helping out, fighting against the Mundo, who's not yet level 16, at least.
There's the win
Just
condition.
wait until there.
Yeah, well, level 16, it gets comical. The thing is, if you have healing reduction on Dr. Mundo, it's 60% of his max health he regens, whereas previously 60% was what he got just straight up in the previous version. They gave him an extra 40% at max level, so Grievous Wounds nerfs him, I guess, is the only way you can think of him. But sadly, Dr. Mundo is, yeah, He is very, very strong in this meta. You can only beat him if you attack him. Just like if you think about it, you can only beat Master Yi if you can attack him. And already then you're like a 3-point plan to shut down Dr. Mundo, a 3-point plan to shut down Master Yi Taric. Those two things together already is too much execution for basically every team in the world, and that's been the growing problem for the side of KT. Both those champions did pretty well, and the Mundo, in particular, did very well.
Yeah. Khan's having a fun time. It's his third time actually playing Mundo. He's 1-1 on the pick. This time, looking like his most dominant Mundo game. I do also love the Zeeks picked up by the Taric, as if Master Yi needed more help. Has a frozen mallet as well, so nobody's getting away from him.
We have a second series today, guys, if you're wondering.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that one. We got a Freaka BBQ. Or barbecue, as we've been trying to call them recently, as they're getting barbecued here in the LCK. Not much luck from them so far.
KT Rolster also getting barbecued in the LCK. Gold lead is 5,000. The Mundo and the Master Yi are ready to go. Shouldn't be the longest break, so for a 2-0, we might actually start on time. For the second series, maybe 10 minutes late, on 8 p.m. Korean Standard Time. Watching Kingzone just slowly kill everything on the map and KT give everything up. That's bad.
Yeah, also known as losing.
Yeah.
Or winning, I guess, if you look at it from the Kingzone side. Well, we're here at 25 minutes. They haven't made a move towards Baron just yet.
We could resume the LCK podcast and not talk about the game.
We have to do our due diligence, right?
I think you were going to tell a cool story, though. I don't know if we ever got the story.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say about the bottom lane. Actually, someone contacted me on Twitter. They're like, but what was the bot lane? We didn't get to hear what it was. Guys, it's Renekton Taric.
Oh.
It's really disgusting.
Was it Tiamat or Essence Reaver?
Essence Reaver.
Oh, boy.
So you get... So the Renekton, goes to the creeps and goes for the second dash. He's got a Taric's Dazzle on him. That hits because, it's their Renekton and their Taric are absolute god-tier challenger players, whereas yours are feeding 0-5. You get hit by that, and then Essence Reaver Ultimate Renekton is on top of you with Cosmic Radiance, and you lose.
That was a pretty cool story.
Yeah, it is.
There you go.
It wasn't cool for me. It's cool for the Renekton Taric.
You know what else is cool?
Trying to kill a Mundo, I suppose. He's going exactly where he pleases. Dazzle is not going to land, but Rush getting pretty low. Khan doesn't seem to care about anything right now.
The bubble there was pretty clutch, though. It shut down Peanuts. So when it comes to turning around on the Master Yi Taric, that was pretty well done by KT.
This Smeb coming through. Really wants to get onto Peanut here. Will force the flash at least. A good trade, I suppose. He did have to use his own flash, though.
Well played by KT. Needed to hit that bubble. If you're going to go for it, the mid lane Zoe into the mid lane Braum against Master Yi. Got to be on point, so we'll compliment you, Cal, for that one. But the cost is only a single flash and a couple of ult cooldowns on the side of Kingzone. Unlikely for you loyal KT fans to change the game, but it is always good to see that you don't fully fall apart after a couple of struggles. A Baron buff would be a lovely pickup by KT. You can see Lulu coming from base for the control ward. There's plenty in the inventory for Kingzone.
I mean, they have full control right now. Looks like they're trying to bait someone in there to go check. KT not going to risk just starting the Baron. That would be a little bit crazy at this point.
A lot of safety being shown by Kingzone. You saw that BDD popped his sweeper in the middle of the lane to see if there was a lane ward on where they were for the inevitable turn. As speaking of turns.
Okay, the Cosmic Radiance trying to come in here. It's not available right now, actually, but look at Khan in the back line, just killing everybody there. And finally, the Yi is going to get online in the front. We'll get 2 kills. And Khan, he's still going. He's going to take everyone out. It's time to start counting turret shots, because that's where Khan is at right now.
I only need to count one number. It says 16. That's the time we knew about. That's the time that Dr. Mundo gives no mundos. Goodbye, inner turret. He's still tanking it. Will he find another turret to tank? He will, but he decides to just give the turret a chance. Mundo is a bit one-note as a person. He wants to show that he can tank other things. How about a Baron to tank? That'd be fun. We're going to watch the replay you know, if this is much earlier in the game and Dr. Mundo isn't level 16 in one lane, in fact, he's not level 16 to start, we should mention, requires the first kill to hit that next level. But while Peanut didn't die in the backline with no Radiance, Mundo hit level 16, and, you know, Mundo did Mundo things.
Prey did die amongst all the action. He was going 1v1 against Smeb. The unfortunate thing when you're playing with the Master Yi is no one seems to care about you. All the supports are only looking at the Master Yi and not at the Lucian who's dying to Irelia. But hey, at least he distracted the Irelia and let the big boys do the damage.
Big boy Master Yi and big boy Mundo in this game.
Mundo.
Dick boy Mundo. That's double C, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Of course. Yeah. That's how you spell it.
Don't want anyone to think we're insulting Mundo.
He's a very thick boy. I mean, he's up with a Spirit Visage now. I mean, he's going for Stone Plate as well. This is getting out of control.
No, that's bad. Let's try again. It's not getting out of control, that is.
It is out of control.
Yes, there we go. We can use real language. He is super, super over the top in this game. Speaking of over the top, Peanut, despite it not being an ideal fight, did plenty of damage in the last one.
I love how the Observer was zooming in on Peanut, getting over the wall. He's like, by the way, Master Yi can go over walls too. Just wanted to show you guys.
We're all about learning on the LCK stream. We learned about the etymology of Big Package during the podcast. We're learning about Dr. Mundo's power level. It seems quite high. Especially if you don't kill him 3 times in the early game. Hey, sometimes he doesn't win. Not that often, though. As Peanut walks up, and Kingzone say, maybe we'll win the game.
Okay, here you come. They got Cosmic Radiance this time around, and I really had never stood a chance. Khan in the backline, he's just having fun right now. Super thick Mundo trying to get on into the backline. He's still got nearly full health, getting a little bit lower now, as it looks like his ultimate has ran out. Will they actually kill him? No, they will not.
And then Warmog's a hell of a drug after this as well. He'll be fine. Look at this. How about a bit of healing? He's in the back, getting 155 every half second. How about a fun time? He's going to teleport back in. That is not a temporary problem. That is just real life.
Yep, well, we're going to see Deft try his best. Doesn't have the Evil Plague anymore. And the Rakan and the Vlad look silly now, as they can do absolutely zero in the face of this composition. Way too far ahead. Khan and Peanut even standing still, diving the fountain right now. Just maximum pain, and that's going to do it. 2-0. Big smiles on their faces. Well deserved. And Kingzone finally looking really strong.
Season may change, but Kingzone vs KT in 2018 has been the most one-sided rivalry we have seen in a while. They are now 6-0 in the regular season of spring, and now the first match in summer. KT looked nowhere near the level of Kingzone. Really nicely executed. I thought their drafts was smart. If you're going to play the Mada combo, the Master Yi Turret, do it against the man who has the name Mada, and do it in that kind of a way where you have the winning side lanes. It was smart, it was calculated, the Master Yi fell behind, and it did not matter. Whereas on the side of KT Rolster, they tried to find a way to evacuate themselves out of a poor draft by sending the Irelia top lane. Irelia couldn't get into big enough lead early. In fact, she fell behind early. And from there, that small sliver of hope from KT was quickly extinguished.
Well, nothing but blank and disappointed faces on the side of KT. Even Rush putting in his word saying, hey, we should have picked Mundo, maybe. Or they didn't really have the tools to deal with the Master Yi KT
have to play in 2 days. They now know they need to ban away the Master Yi Taric, especially against anyone who's going to be playing the Master Yi. They also need to quickly reprioritize around the marksman role, around Death's champion, because they've tried Vlad twice. It was better in the early game here, but I don't think they are a Vlad team. I think they're all about excellence on champions they have hundreds of games in. Deft and Mada have played tens of thousands of games of League of Legends on AD carry and support. Play those champions, win bot lane, going even or slightly better, and definitely a lot worse in the first game isn't going to suit this team. Most of their leads in the spring season were from Deft and Mada crushing lane. It's not going to happen on Vladimir Rakan.
Yeah, this is a couple of fights that we saw between the two bot lanes, and both of them went the way of Kingzone too. The one time he didn't know Lulu was there, but he could have flashed away. He would have actually lived if he did the safety flash. And, well, this was just Mundo things alongside of a Master Yi. even though he went down, the Mundo just got way too out of control.
This game struck me as one team who made mistakes in week one and has problem solved a lot of their mistakes, and another team who is trying to extend what they were doing in week one, which worked to a point. But it feels like Kingzone have doubled down on what's good, and KT are still trying to work out what's good. And that meant that Kingzone looked worlds ahead of one of the top teams in Korea.
I was just watching this fight and watching Deft trying to ignore the Mundo. He's like, just ignore the Mundo, right? Lol. Didn't work. He had to ultimate and then pull away, and then Mana ate a couple of cleavers and auto attacks, headbutts, and then he nearly died to the Mundo as well.
And this was the struggle. We said, what does it look like when KT win a fight? Valdez, it didn't. There was really no way, if it was all 5v5, that it could happen. Some of them were closer than others. But Khan just presses ultimate, and Zoe is not a champion equipped to deal with that Dr. Mundo.
Zoe is no longer a champion.
No.
We could just sum it up that way.
There's just some champs, Ezreal, Zoe, any sort of poking mage that Mundo looks at, and he has his items, and, you know, it's a fail-safe 1 or 0. It's binary. This was a 1. This is him running all over said champions. Ends up being an easy victory, and Mundo's going to have plenty of damage dealt as well.
I mean, a lot of that, of course, was trading up on the top side with Smeb. Smeb didn't do too much damage in the team fights. I mean, he did do a bit of 1v1ing with the Lucian and a couple of decent ultimates, but outside of that, the Mundo definitely a lot better in terms of having an impact on the game. And the Master Yi had 3rd damage on his team, even.
That's what happens when you have a bot lane that did well and a Dr. Mundo that did much more than well. It says a lot about Mundo that he can out-damage the Master Yi and the Lucian in a game like this, which wasn't even about him. He was just picked to have a safe lane against Irelia, lose a bit in the early game and farm, and he was just there until he was the center of attention.
This wasn't just like, this wasn't a protect the Mundo composition. Let's let Mundo farm up in the jungle. Maybe there should be protect the Mundo compositions if he can do this.
Isn't it nice that when you have Lulu Master Yi, Lulu can also be like, what if Mundo was faster and had a knockup?
Exactly.
That's the nice thing, the Lulu Mundo synergy, which is a byproduct of a comp that was built around Master Yi, had a pretty good backup, it turns out, in this particular game. We're ready to crown an MVP. Who could it possibly be? It's Khan.
It's Khan. No big surprise. It was the Bada composition, the Master Yi Taric, but of course Khan is the one who gets the MVP.
Oh, he couldn't quite have exactly the percentage damage done and taken.
It says up in the top, this game's MVP is not the Mata composition. And, well, that's exactly what we said. So, either way, guys, we are going to go into the interview with our 2 MVPs, BDD and Khan. I will let Ji-sun help out with the translation.
Thank you very much. This is Ji-sun with their interview translation, and today we are joined by BDD and Khan from Kingzone DragonX. BDD, seems like you lost a lot of weight. Really? I actually did not realize. Thank you. Kingzone. You guys seem a little bit unsatisfied after last week's match. How do you feel today? For today, there were a lot less mistakes. So overall, yeah, I am satisfied. Well, recently I thought I wasn't performing well, but during the yesterday practice, I was feeling really well. And I thought I could do better from now on. So that's how I performed so well today. And a lot of people have been talking about champions on mid lane. Maybe some people think that some classic mid laners are better compared to like Braum mid. What are your thoughts? When you're playing Taric, you basically play with Taric and Master Yi composition. Well, I know it's no fun for mid laners. But I think it's still a viable pick if your teammates are really performing well.
사실 그 아트록스 나왔었을 때 그 화려한 그 장면도
And very fantastic play on your Atrox, and also
뭔가를 한번 탈피했는데
you were really performing dominantly on Mundo as a tanker.
팬들사이에서 굉장히 올라왔거든요. 어떻습니까? 이제는 뭐좀 자유롭게 달아지는
So I think you found a new tanker champion for yourself, right?
부분이 있더라고요.
네.
저는 탱커를 안 보여줬을 뿐이지 못해서 안
Well,
쓰는
I think it's a misunderstanding because it's not that I don't play tank champions, it's just I got no opportunity to play it.
I'm sorry.
So the breaking news says, Khan, I am good at tanker.
본인 피셜로 얘기했기 때문에 I'm sorry입니다. 그만큼 일단 칸이 보였던 장면들이 다재다능한 장면 중에서 우리가
So we're really sorry for the misunderstanding.
느낄 수 있었습니다. 좀 구체적으로
And
말씀드리면
moving on to the games.
아웃솔. 참 이게 사실
Aurelion Soul in mid lane.
BDD 입장에서는 지난번 경기에서는 5만 가지 생각이 다 들었잖아요. 아웃솔 때문에.
I saw you were a little bit unhappy with your Aurelion Soul last week.
오늘 초반 라인전 하면서 상대 미드 선수가
Today,
긴장한 게 보이더라고요.
I saw my opponent mid laner being a little bit frustrated during the laning phase, so I could play a little bit more aggressively. And yeah, I think I was in a very good form today.
신인이었을 때 그 베테랑 선수가 도리어 그 BDD의 그 긴장하는 모습을 노린다는 얘기가 있었잖아요.
Well,
근데 이제는 표정이
back in the days when you were a rookie in LCK, you were the one who was getting really frustrated, but you look really comfortable nowadays.
원인이라든지 뭐 도움이라든지 뭐 그런 게 있어요.
What kind of brought you this kind of change for yourself?
그냥 경력 조금 쌓이고 신인 선수들이
Well,
많이 와서
because I've been playing in the league for a couple of years, and there are some kind of new players in the league, so yeah, I think I took advantage on that.
중에서 좀 눈에 들어오는 선수가 있어요. 제2의 BDD가 될 만한 제목들.
Do you see any post BDD in the league?
신인 선수인데 되게 좀
I think Yukal is doing really well.
뭐라 해야 되지? 좀 노련하게 잘하는
I mean, you know, he's a rookie player, but I feel like he's a very experienced player. But I'm not sure for other players right now.
보이는 게 없다.
네.
Yeah, I think Yukal, he's the one right now.
농담입니다. 그냥 농담으로 말씀드린 거고. 칸 선수 같은 경우도 사실은
Moving on to
지금
Khan.
위티가 생길 정도로 좀 경기가 기분 좋게 끝났으니까 이렇게 또 여쭤보는 건데 칸도 그랬잖아요. 예전에 같은 경우는 보통
Well, you are also very nervous player back in the days. But right now, you are really, you are more like a pro, right? You have so much experience so far.
장면들 중에서 내 장면만큼 화려한 장면을 보여주는 선수 좀 있나요?
Is there any other top laners that you think he is good as you are?
플레이하는 거 보면 되게 잘한다고
Wait,
많이
I think
생각하고
Keen is a
되고
really smart player,
이제 이 브릭에서 올라온 이제 그리핀
and also
선수가
Sword and Griffin.
문도로 좀 되게 활약하는 거
I saw
보고
him playing
저도 좀
Mundo last
문도에 대한
time.
자문을 구했거든요.
So yeah, I actually asked him about a playstyle with Mundo, and I got a lot of help from him.
같은 경우는 기인 선수 좋은 플레이가 많이 나왔었잖아요.
네.
아트록스 플레이는 혹시 그럼 뭐
Then did you get any advice from Keen on Atrox?
거기서 영감이 될 만한 거는 다 배울 수 있어요.
Yeah, I learned a lot from watching Africa Freaks games.
좀 많이 돌려봤어요.
So I did a lot of replays on that match.
아트록스 분도.
그냥 기인 선수가 이제
So for Keen,
SK에서 탑 다이브하는 영상 같은 경우는 계속 돌려보면서
I have see the clip of him taking down Tual on the top lane, solo killing him. So I saw his skill combos and his movements and so on. And also moving on to Mundo on Sword, I saw him his play styles and also his rotations. Because I'm the player who kind of play with aggressive play style, but I saw Sword playing it quite in a more like a
좋지 않을 수도 있겠습니다.
safe way. So I learned a lot from him.
운동 같은 걸 잡았었을 때는 몸을 던진다는 표현이 굉장히 공격적으로 느껴지거든요. 오늘 마지막 2세트에서도 그랬었고.
Yeah, I did see your aggressive play on Mundo today in the game too, right?
그 사실 1세트 BDD 입장에서는
Well, talking about the first set,
30분 경기였는데 60분 경기였어요.
well, the first set lasted for about an hour, right?
여러 가지 내용들이 나올 수도 있을 것 같고.
So what kind of conversation went back and forth during the pause?
제가 봤었을 때는 플레이 선수가 막 분위기도 좀 만들고 그런 것 같기도 했었는데 없었어요?
그냥 저희가 평소에도 되게 좀 학교 친구들처럼 되게 장난
You
많이
know,
치는
we have a
편이고
lot of
그래서
conversation with each other.
다 평소 일상 얘기하면서
So yeah, we're just talking about our daily life and we're just trying to make jokes.
만들 수 있는 일상이 있어요? 뭔 일상이 있어요?
그냥 그런 건 없고 뭐 그냥 옛날 얘기
Well, 막 talks about
무슨 게임 했냐 막 이런 얘기도 막 하고
talks about things that happened long time ago.
저요?
뭐 했어요 옛날에?
저는 뭐 스톤에이지 뭐 디지몬 RPG 이런 거
I talked about Stone Age or digital monsters and so on.
옛날에 다양한 게임을 접했었던 BDD의 모습이었습니다. 초반에 게임 초반에 그 스맵을 일단 자꾸 연달아서 잡아내는 장면들이 좀 있었잖아요.
And we saw you guys taking down Smith for a couple of times in the early game.
이제 제가 탑에서 이제 집 타임을 한번 끊고 부시에서 한번 노려보자고
So I-
왕왕했는데
So Peanut told me to he was just gonna camp in the jungle
생각이 나더라고요.
and kind of wait for Smith once more.
이 다음 거?
네, 이 다음 거.
네.
But after this one,
아임 소리. 네, 아임 소리. 이 다음 거 바로 치면 되지. 이거.
yeah, so he said he's just gonna camp here, and he told me that he's gonna just take down Smith once more, and like it was just a miracle.
이게 잊혀지지가 않아서 너무 좋았다고.
It was just an amazing call from Peanut.
계속 혼자 얘기해요? 아까 그거 너무 좋았다고?
아, 제가요.
아, 본인이?
야, 왕호야, 아까 방금 거 너무
So I told Peanut that was really awesome.
저거 생각하면 너무 좋았어요.
그 본인은요? 본인 입장에서 가장 좋은 장면 이 장면 말고 또 있어요?
Is there any other highlights today?
진짜 저는 각을 못 보고 정글이 각을 봐줘서 정글이 먹은
Yeah,
킬이라서
kind of Peanut saw the angle coming, so
킬을 먹은 거예요.
yeah, I just want to say thank you for him.
사람이 왜 이렇게 달라졌어요? 왜 이런 거야?
아, 그 상황은 그랬어요. 솔직히 그거 말고도 나머지는 제가 잘했으니까.
Well, in the other parts, I did really well, but I really appreciate Peanut's call over there.
솔직히 기억이 하나도 안 나요.
하나도 안 나요?
And for me, I actually remember nothing.
언제 한번 볼까요, BDD? BDD MVP 장면?
Then let's check out the clips from the highlights.
보여줘요, 그럼 빨리. 뭐가 있을까? 그럼 기억 다 하게.
So this is the kill log of the entire game.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 다등등하죠. 9까지.
Name any numbers you like.
11까지. 뭐 BD가 했던 여러 가지 장면들 쭉 있는데 이 중에서 마음에 드는 장면 뭐 있어요?
So what's your favorite?
전령 앞에서 아마
The team fight near the Herald?
그냥 죽었었던 기억이 있는데 그거?
전령 앞에서 탈리아를 그냥 잡았던 거.
Then let's check out the clip.
7번인 것 같기도 하고.
7번
Maybe number 7.
7번이에요. 7번이에요.
7번. 맞을까요? 7번?
무조건 7번이.
무조건 7번?
I'm sure it's number 7.
7번이 과연 맞을까요? 7번이 맞는지 한번 체크해 볼게요. 7번. 다 기억은 맞나요? 봐요 그러면 7번. 이게 7번이네요.
아, 맞아요.
이거요?
Yeah, this is the one.
아, 이 무빙. 다시 봐요 그러면.
My sidestep over there was really awesome.
그래서 무빙을
예.
그리고 두 명을 이렇게 만들고.
And then you guys took down 2.
이거는
그러면 다시 한번.
Replay again.
때까지.
일단 그냥
What are your comments?
아하.
소라카 침묵
I simply dodged the skill
어허.
and then re-engaged and took down Yukal over there.
좋았어. 네, 그거였구나. 네. 한 3번 보니까 이제 느낌이 오네요. 왜 MVP를 탔는지라는 느낌을 이제 확실히 받을 수 있었어요. 사실은 그 오늘 경기를 통해서 이제 그 킹존 팬 여러분들께서 가장 만족했던 건 그게 아닐까라는 생각이 들어요.
So
킹존
by
그동안
today's match,
표정이 제가 봐도 약간
a lot of fans were in the previous days were a little bit worried because you guys seemed a little bit depressed. But today you guys seem really entertained and really joyful.
2세트 플레이 자체에서 막 신이 나는 플레이들이 있었거든요. 어떻습니까? 이제 오늘 경기를
So are you guys back in your form right now?
어떻습니까?
일단 저번 경기는 좀 되게
Well, in the past matches,
좀 꾸역꾸역 이긴 느낌이라서
I think yeah, we were kind of playing without our style.
얘기 많이 하면서 잘 돼가지고
But today we really had talked with each other a lot, so I'm really happy today.
남들이 모르는 몰래 숨겨놓은 그 장인 챔피언 같은 거 하나 있어요?
Is there any champions you would like to recommend for others? It's a secret.
아 그렇구나.
I don't have any, actually.
여러분 들어도 상관없어요. 없대요. 농담이었고. 자 그러면 칸 선수. 칸 선수가
Moving on to Khan.
승리를 따내고 난 다음에 그 평소답지 않게 안 좋아해가지고.
언제
You look a little bit depressed in the last interview here, so we were really worried about you.
미안하고 막 그러더라고요. 오늘은 좀 괜찮잖아요.
How are you feeling today?
오늘 좋은 장면
Feels awesome
많았으니까.
today.
원래 칸의 매력이라는 거는 사실 다 알고 있잖아요. 아주 시원시원함. 뭐 세게 뭐라고 얘기하는 게 아니라 팬 여러분 그냥 안심하라고.
So is there any last message you want to tell your fans today?
한 말씀 해주시면 팬 여러분께
But yourself and Kingzone.
이게 저희가 딱 진에어 전까지는 저희가 저점이었던 것 같아요. 근데
I think we're on a very low
이번
point.
계기로 좀 많이 올라갈 수도 있고.
But I want to make today as a momentum, and we're gonna make sure to
감사합니다.
the highest point for the split. Thank you.
이미 거대한 떡이 있기 때문에 많은 분들께서 걱정 안 하실 것 같습니다. 자, 이렇게 두 명의 선수 오늘 MVP
So this will be the end of the interview with Khan and BDD from Kingzone DragonX, and I will pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
두 명의 선수 여러분 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
No, thank you, G-Sun, for that wonderful translation. It's always good to hear from our boys in blue. Kingzone DragonX, a couple of really quick wins over KT Rolster. Made it look easy, Papa.
And finally, the LCK double reigning champions revealed themselves. It took them an extra week. They didn't look great in the first week of summer, but oh boy, are they back and ready to play. They jump ahead of KT Rolster, who have had a pretty hard schedule, so they've lost to Afrika and Kingzone. Definitely no tragedy there. Both those teams are expected to be right up the top, but can't afford too many more losses. Let's look at the schedule for what will be another 13, a best-of-3 week. We've got a pretty fun one in what is going to be proved to be a pretty short break, probably around 20 minutes. We will have Afrika Freaks versus BBQ, with Afrika Freaks probably our strongest team we've seen so far in the LCK.
Yeah, Afrika look really strong. BBQ not. Oh, who's that?
That was someone from Afrika.
Who's that guy?
We can't reveal rosters though. No,
Never seen that guy. Oh, there's more.
Where is our broadcast
Where
integrity?
are they all coming from?
That was Zephyr.
Yeah, that was Zephyr.
That guy drafts.
The FD right now is just like, oh God, why did this have to happen?
I feel a lot about 1 hour of game time, 2 hours, 40-minute broadcast.
Yeah, you know, it was fun. We had a good time on the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Shouldn't be much of a break though. We're here at 7:43. Should be about 20 minutes.
Yep.
So maybe come back around 8:15, 8:05, I guess.
Don't say things like this. Look at the timer. When it says 0, probably good things happen.
Around that
we don't
time,
know.
yeah.
We don't know. We hope so.
Yeah. So, yeah. Will be fun. Afrika, definitely the favorites coming into that one. We'll see if BBQ can upset them in a match that might be heavily one-sided, but should be a lot of fun either way, guys. We'll see you in about 20 minutes.